spice season is officially here, which means that my bank account is gonna cry. Why? Because what makes the fall season fun is trying out all the new drinks. But do I really need to spend $8 every time just to feel something? Look, for me personally, I've been trying to save every single dollar I can because everything adds up. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys how to make these festive and Asian-inspired fall drinks at home, and most importantly, for cheap. I love incorporating my culture any way I can, so for the first drink we have the pumpkin spice Vietnamese coffee, the PSVC. It's stronger, more intense, and forces you to slow down a little. We'll start off by making our homemade pumpkin spice syrup. In a pan, combine half cup of pumpkin puree, half cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon, ginger powder, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. Then simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. It isn't Viet Coffee without condensed milk, so at the very end we're gonna add some in. How much? As much as the ancestors want you to put in. We don't want the stringiness from the pumpkin puree, so I'm straining the sauce through a fine mesh sieve to make it silky smooth. To make the Viet Coffee, I like to first spoon in the sauce we just made so that it can warm up and incorporate with the drip coffee. To the drip filter or phin, I'm adding roughly 2 spoonfuls of dark roasted coffee grounds, then pour hot water to the top and wait for it to drip through. In the meantime, let's make the pumpkin cold foam with a 3 to 2 to 1 ratio. So 3 parts heavy cream, 2 parts milk, and 1 part pumpkin sauce. Then whisk it up until fluffy and smooth. Finally, to assemble the drink, first mix the Viet Coffee with the pumpkin spice sauce until combined. Get a cup of ice and pour your mixture over. Then top it off with your pumpkin cold foam. Dust it off with a little cinnamon powder and you're done. Simple, strong, and spiced. Alright, so here's the finished product. I'm so excited to give it a taste to show you guys how good it tastes. That is so good. It's so fragrant the minute you just take a whiff and then you take a sip of the coffee. Blended so well with the syrup and the pumpkin. I'd say it's one of my favorite drinks. Second is the Black Sesame Maple Latte, a cozy balance of nutty, toasty sesame with the rich sweetness of maple, perfect for when you want something fall-inspired but a little more sophisticated. So to start off, we're gonna put about a spoonful of black sesame paste in your cup. Add 1 cup of milk, then add a little bit of maple syrup until it's sweet enough for you, then whisk it all up until everything is nice and smooth. Next, we're gonna need a fresh shot of espresso. This is where the cozy meets the caffeine. For the cold foam, we are going to combine 3 parts heavy cream, 2 parts milk, and 1 part black sesame paste with a little drizzle of maple syrup. Whip it up until it's nice and fluffy. To put it all together, fill your glass with some ice, pour in the milk mixture, add the espresso, top it with the sesame maple foam, and finish it off with a sprinkle of black sesame seeds. I'm really excited about this one. Wow. I'm not just saying wow because I made it. It really is reminiscent of the black sesame desserts that I grew up with, like black sesame sweet balls, black sesame soup. It's so sweet, so toasty, nutty, and warm. And I really think that the maple syrup is the cherry on top because it's like this East meets West moment, tying it all together to make this harmonious fall flavor. Next, we have the Chestnut matcha latte. If you want to use fresh chestnuts, go on right ahead, but you're gonna have to roast until soft and then peel it all yourself. I personally don't have time for that, so I'll be using the pre-roasted and peeled chestnuts that I got from my local H Mart. We're gonna measure out around 50 grams of chestnuts and then give it a good mash. In a pot, add half a cup of milk, the chestnut mash, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you can strain out any clumps for a smooth sauce. To make our matcha, measure and sift through 4 grams of matcha powder. Add about 60 to 90 milliliters of hot water, and give it a good whisk until it's smooth and frothy. For the cold foam, we are using 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of milk, and 1 tablespoon of chestnut sauce, then whip it up until fluffy. Finally, to assemble, get your iced cup, layer the chestnut sauce, pour in the milk, then add your matcha. Top it with a chestnut cold foam, and if you're feeling fancy, garnish it with a dusting of kinako or soybean powder. Oh my god! Guys, you know when something is just way too cute, you can't touch it, you can't drink it? This is that. Let's give it one thorough mix so that we can get all the flavors in. Woo! Not too sweet, so toasty. We all know about the chestnuts roasting by an open fire. A classic fall and winter treat. But mixing it with matcha, it just makes sense. I have nothing else to say. It just works, guys. It just works. You gotta try it. This sweet potato hojicha latte combines the earthiness, the sweetness of roasted potato with the roasty, nutty flavor of hojicha. It is literally perfect. I know I said I didn't have time to roast earlier, but I couldn't find any pre-roasted sweet potato, you know what I mean? So we are going to roast about 85 grams of Korean sweet potato at 375 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes or until it's super soft. Then after it's done, give it a good mash. In a pot, add your mash, half a cup of milk, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're gonna simmer it for 2 to 3 minutes, then take it off of the heat. By now, you should know the drill. We're gonna strain it to get a silky smooth sweet potato sauce. For our hojicha, we are sifting about 4 grams of hojicha powder, adding a splash of hot water, and then we are whisking it until it's smooth and frothy. And to assemble our drink, we are adding our sweet potato sauce to the cup, pour in the milk, top with the hojicha, and finish with a dusting of kinako powder. All right, here we have it. Let's give it a little mixy mix, and let's have a sip. Right now I'm having it iced because it is still so hot, but I would suggest having this warm. Whenever I think of a cozy, comforting fall drink, I think of hojicha just because it's already so toasty, it is roasted, and it's so comforting. Combined with the sweet potato, which reminds me a lot of when like my grandma would always share her steamed sweet potatoes that she would eat in the fall. It's just a very comforting combination. This ginger yuzu apple cider takes the classic fall favorite and brightens it with citrusy yuzu and spicy ginger. This one is super simple. We're gonna start by peeling and slicing up a knob of fresh ginger. In a pot, add 1 cup of apple cider, your sliced ginger, a dash of extra cinnamon and nutmeg, an extra half cup of water, and about 2 tablespoons of yuzu extract. Then let that simmer gently so the flavors blend. And that's it. You can pour your spiced cider into a glass or a cozy mug and you're set. Top with a few ginger slices or even ginger candy if you want a sweet little kick. During the recipe development phase of this video, I'd say this was actually my favorite drink to completely demolish. Like, I would drink this entire thing. Apple cider for me is already a fall must, but the minute you add ginger to it, it adds the kick, it adds the heat. And then you add the yuzu, which cuts through all the sweetness. Guys, this is why this was my favorite. So I hope you guys enjoy these fall drinks as much as I do. If you guys try these recipes or if you have a favorite, let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!